Flashback.
Prepare all the necessary materials. In preparing these materials, you must do certain things to achieve a zero-cost project. To have the frame for the toggle switches, one must cut a square-shaped aluminum tube using an electric grinder. The next one will be for the frames and holes for the signal lights. One must cut the PVC pipe in half using a handsaw. Be very careful in using the handsaw and avoid accidents at all costs. For the signal lights, one must get a flashlight and use its lights. Cut the wires using pliers. Ensure that the cables attached to the flashlight are still connected for later usage. Make the necessary holes on the bike using an electric drill, and the holes are for when you attach the frames on the bike using screws. Make sure to align the holes in the frames when boring the holes. Start attaching the frames to the bike and secure the locks properly to avoid loose frames. One must also get a diode from a motherboard to convert alternating current into direct current. Cut all the necessary wires. To cut the wires, one must use a cutting plier. The wires must be cut into 23 inches of black wire and 18 inches of red wire. These are used to connect the dynamo motor to the toggle switches. In cutting the cables, strip the cable. Use cable strippers at about 1 to 2 inches from the end of the cable to remove the outer jacket. Just twist until you can finally remove the outer coat from connecting with the rest of the wire. One can also use a knife to cut the small and thin wires, but be very careful in doing so in order to avoid accidents. After removing the outer jacket of the wires, place a soldering lead at the end of the wires in order for them to easily connect in the wiring step. Dismantle the built-in dynamo unit. Attached to the bike is a built-in dynamo motor unit. Flip the bike upside down and start removing it from the bike using the right tools in order to not damage it and still be used for later. Assemble the signal lights. In this step, one must start attaching the signal lights on the bike. By doing so, begin screwing the other half of the pipe on the back of the bike. Use a glue gun on the wires at the back of the lights so these do not move. This then will avoid having a short circuit. Make sure to connect the wires inside the pipe and hide behind the lights. Then cut the excess plastic locks as they are irrelevant.
Now we are assembling our headlights and horn to the bike. So as you can see, we are taking our portable headlight that we got and we are attaching it to the handlebar part of the bike as well as our horn. Okay, so now we are dismantling the chain cover. So on the bottom part of the bike on the side, there will be a chain cover, which is basically something covering the bike chain itself. Now, the reason why we want to remove the chain cover from the bike is because it will allow us more space to hide or neatly arrange the wires. So we can, in the process, have a better place to put it and a better place. So now we are going to the next part, which is loosening the screws on the basket. Now we're using our Allen wrench to help us loosen the screws on the basket area, which you can see in the clip right here. We're taking the screws out just so that it can be loosened up a bit. Alright, now it is time to begin the wiring process. So for the first part, we're taking our Dynamo motor to toggle switch 1, and this is to switch on or off the charging feature. So as you can see here, we are taking our Dynamo motor, and we are also keeping in mind to make all the wires neat and clean. So by doing that, we are using these cable ties that you can see here. And we are going to be attaching them to the bike to keep the wires in place and to make them neat and safe. Okay, so now we are on to our next part of our wiring. So we're taking our Dynamo motor to our rechargeable battery with the use of a diode. So as you can also see in this part, we are using a multimeter. So as you can see, they are testing out the open wire. So the reason why we want to do this and the reason why it's important that people use a multimeter to check is because it helps us check the voltage of the wire, the current, the circuit, so we can tell if it would be a good wire to use or if it's a short circuit wire, and so on. Once we are done with that, we are now moving on to the next part, which is signal lights to toggle switch 2, and this is to control the left and right signal lights. Now once we got all those connected, as you can see in the following clips, we're just going to be arranging the wires in the correct place to make sure they're neat. And also you will see the part where we dismantled the chain cover. We're using that part of the bike to hide or neatly arrange the wires as well using our zip ties. Alright, now we are almost done. We are just going to be taking our switches to our rechargeable battery. And actually our portable headlight already has a built-in rechargeable rather.
Now next, by the use of an electrical tape, we cover the excess from all the negative wires to insulate and protect wires and other connections.
And then you can also see us attaching our switch to our bike, specifically the middle part of our bike. And there's a few wires going around places, but that is fine because the next part is arranging the wires neatly and to make sure that they're placed safely.
Toggle switch controls the flow of the electric current from the power supply to a device. We carefully place the toggle switch into the front part of the bike. Now arrange neatly and cover those things that should be covered so that we can hide the wires inside and to not make the project look like skeletal light. Firstly, we cover the light's wire in the back part of the bike using a tube and a cable tie to hide the connected wires inside it and to make it not look messy. We also put tape to cover the toggle switch in the handlebars of the bike. Now we return all the dismantled original parts of the bicycle. First, we install the bike's front basket using a screw and an Allen wrench. Now lastly, check if all the added features actually works. Check the front light, the horn, the lights in the back, and also the toggle switch. Also carefully check if there's any other access needs to be fixed.
End of flashback.